That's my vantage point, and nothing is happening that's very pleasant. And I should be optimistic and promote good things that are happening. There's always something good happening, but I thrive on social movements, and there's not social movement happening, and there's a lot of really shit governments, and they keep on getting shittier, and well before the Republicans controlled both houses of Congress again, they were trying to, well, they were breaking international law, not letting children claim asylum, turning them back, sending them home. Give us your huddled masses, yearning to be free. That's what it says on the Statue of Liberty, and here they come. From the other side, across the southern border, across the Great Divide, now they're told they should go away. But the statue in the harbor says stay. Gives us your cold and hungry, let them come by land or sea. Let them all find solace in this land of refugees, escaping persecution, just trying to survive. And they worked as hard as Guatemalans as soon as their ships arrived, and now they're told they should go away. But the statue in the harbor says stay. Give us your persecuted, but only if they're white. It doesn't say that on the statue that holds aloft the light. What did you think would happen in the lands you overthrew? Where should all the children go after the coup? And now they're told they should go away. But the statue in the harbor says stay. Now they're told they should go away. But the statue in the harbor says stay. The statue in the harbor says stay. Well, it was an especially strange day a few days ago, like not only after events in Paris, but then people told here in Montreal that you could have a rally but not a march, and they were suspending the P6 law for 24 hours in order for you to express solidarity with your, you know, I mean, yeah, it's just interesting that they didn't. I think there were also massacres in Yemen and several other countries, like in the days right around that massacre in Paris, and nobody talked about suspending P6 in order for people to have solidarity vigils with anybody massacred in other places. But there was, you know, as there were big protests in Montreal in 2012 and in other countries, there were pretty sustained protests for actually 4 years preceding 2012, after the financial collapse. Greece was one country where every few weeks, I mean every few days, there were massive protests, and every few weeks folks were going and burning down the financial district. And if you visited Athens and saw, you know, you could see the charred remains of the banks, but the banks would be okay, they were still functioning. It's just that the outside, so then were all black, and the windows would get replaced, and then they'd, you know, but soot is harder to clean off, I guess. And so there were police everywhere in Greece, not, you know, looking out for their population for the most part. And, you know, all these parks with people hanging out, playing bazookies and chatting all night, every night. Just, I don't know, that seems to be the schedule for a lot of people in Greece, and I have no idea how that works, but it's nice if you're visiting and everybody's all hanging out in the parks all night, every night, and because there's people to hang out with right there, and they're playing bazookies too. Just my favorite thing about going to Greece is hearing actual Greek music, which they actually play in Greece. I don't know why that continues to happen, but it's good. And And then, so you go to the parks and you notice there's all these people hanging out, and along with the people there's thousands and thousands of dogs, because Greece is full of stray dogs. And they neuter them, but they just then let them roam around on the streets. And one of those dogs, who it turned out actually did have a place to live, but basically went out all day, but for about 4 years, was a dog named Loukanikos, and he would join all the protests anytime there was a protest happening. And when the protests stopped happening on a regular basis in 2012, Loukanikos basically went home and went to sleep, and then died a few months later. And probably from complications of tear gas inhalation, it turns out. But Loukanikos became famous because anytime there was a protest in Greece, he would be the front line. He'd stand in front of the cops and he'd bark, and he would never run when the cops started firing tear gas, unlike everybody else who would sensibly get to the other side of the tear gas cloud. Loukanikos would just stand there in the tear gas and bark. And so people wondered, like, what is this dog, like, just immune to tear gas, or just so militant that he can't stand the idea of running from the cops? Or, it was a very popular topic in social media, and I mean, dog pictures generally do well, but dogs surrounded by tear gas is a special thing for Facebook. So I wrote a song for Loukanikos, which paradoxically is probably the most famous I'll ever be on the internet, and it was all in Greece. So my prospects for taking advantage of this fame is very limited because of the language barrier in Greece. But I mean, if you're going to get famous somewhere, what the heck? But it's only with one song. They don't know any of my other songs, but this one's all over the TV in Greece. And after Loukanikos died, it got twice as popular. But putting it all in perspective, it's not nearly as popular as my cousin's weekly Lego SpongeBob animations, which he's got 17 million views on YouTube for making Lego SpongeBob animations. There seems to be a market for that, in case anybody's into that sort of thing. He's making thousands of dollars a month. He's the highest paid member of his family, actually. Lots of folks are revolted. They've had enough of this shit. The rich are getting richer. They're saying that's it. But with Luke, it's different, that's clear. As he emerges from the fog, let's hear it for Loukanikos, the riot dog. It's a fight between people, but he is no pawn. He knows exactly which side he's on. In the machine of capital, he is no cog. Let's hear it for Loukanikos, the riot dog. When a smoke bomb comes towards him, he kicks it back at the buzz. He acts a bit different than a normal dog does. He's got a fan page on Facebook, but he's got no time for a blog. Let's hear it for Loukanikos, the riot dog. Let's hear it for Loukanikos, the riot dog. Well, there's soon going to be a Know Your Rights teach-in, which is always good. And I don't know if I have any kind of rights compared to Canadians, but I'm curious to know what my rights are in Canada. Although it probably doesn't apply to me as a foreigner. I don't know, but one could. Does it? Oh, good. I have rights. Absolutely. In Portland, Oregon, where I live, my rent has almost doubled in the past 7 years. I think similar things are happening in Montreal, in a lot of neighborhoods. It's feudalism, really. I think we really never graduated from feudalism. If you got a whole, country where the landlords own most everything and everybody else is a tenant, I think that's basically what feudalism is all about, as I understand it. I moved out of 3 cities, cause I couldn't pay the rent. Folks like me weren't welcome, so I packed it up and went. It's always the same story. I find a place I wanna be, and soon enough I'm joined by all the other refugees. Then watch the websites warble, this is the hippest place to hang. Hey, check out Division, it's the sweetest thing since Tang. Then watch the millionaires come in, build a luxury hotel, sipping coffee on the sidewalk, saying, isn't this place swell? The rents are going up, and the neighborhood's going down. Here in Gentrification Town, see the families leave the city, watch how they accept their fate, except the ones who had the timing right and bought some real estate. The ones who had the timing, and the ones who had the credit, the ones who paid attention to whoever it was who said it. This is a nation that won't suffer utopians or fools. He who has the gold rules. He who has the gold, he who bought the stock, he who is the landlord who owns your block. The rents are going up and the neighborhood's going down. Here in Gentrification Town, they say you can't blame the yuppies, they're just responding to the will of the market and the strength of the US dollar bill. But the dollar's only strong if you have some to your name. Otherwise you're on the business end of the game. The end that just stays home cause they can't afford the show. The end that has to pack their things and find a place to go. The new hit place to be for a little while, then the wrecking balls move in and chase us out again. Rents are going up and the neighborhood's going down. Here in Gentrification Town, rents are going up and the neighborhood's going down. Here in Gentrification Town, Gentrification Town. Couple more, and gosh. I keep on thinking of that playlist, you know, and those are all songs I wrote 10 years ago, and they're all in standard tuning, and I only use DADGAD now, and so it's just